Welcome, man. It's good to see y'all's faces. I wasn't sure if anybody would come, man. We got wings and rolls and chips and salsa. Y'all turned up and turned out. It's good. Hey, so my name is Myron, and I just want to give us a quick mental health kind of pick me up and encouragement and really try to help you guys as you're in this dead week, getting ready for finals. Most of you college students, it's a time for you to refresh your mind, deal with some of the stress and anxiety you may have with next week's exams or final papers, and really deal with the mental health crisis that I think exists in our generation and in this younger generation and the Gen Z generation in particular. I think it's the most plagued generation in all of human history that we ever recorded or have the data to show that there's a mental health crisis. So I want to take a moment here, about 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll get back to some more music and just talk about and address the issue of mental health. And so let me give you my credentials, okay? I came to West Liberty, fellow Hilltopper. I got my undergrad in psychology. I went to West Virginia University, got my master's in pathology, communication pathology. I went to The Ohio State University and got my PhD in neuroscience. All of that's a lie, I'm kidding. None of that is true. Some of y'all are like, dang, this guy is credentialed. Look at this dude. No. But I say all that as a joke because you might be thinking, why is this guy gonna stand up here with a microphone and talk to me about mental health? What right does he have? Let me give you my actual credentials, okay? I came to West Liberty. That part was true. I am a Hilltopper, okay? Let's go there. I got a BS, a bachelor's in mathematics, useless, okay? Like, it was a waste of money. I'm never going to use it, but I love math, so I studied math. And then I started working as a pastor at the Vineyard Church right here at the bottom of the hill on Warden Run Road, right out of college. Right as soon as I graduated here, I started working there. And here's why I think I can speak into this mental health crisis. I have worked with young people for 6 years now. And I have counseled them, I've walked through life with them, I've dealt with some of the traumatic experiences that they've been through, the overwhelming stress, the comparison, this level of expectation that they're trying to measure up to, called success that society has placed on them. And I've been in it for 6 years with this group of people and navigated a lot of lives navigating this. And I think I just want to speak into it from what I've learned and what I've learned about reading and studying this topic. So why listen to me? I don't know. But I hope that you take something from this conversation, and we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I care about you. I don't even know most of you, but I care about you. I care about this generation. I care about the young people. I care about your future career. I care about your future spouse and your future marriage. I care about your future kids. I care about your future family. I care about your future success, your future happiness, and the impact and the legacy that you will build one day and you'll look back on and say, oh my gosh, and I just want to help you navigate and be everything you were created to be and maximize your life on this earth. And so I care about you and I love you, and we got to talk about it because it exists. To ignore it would be a disservice, and to not talk about it in a healthy environment with good people would not be helpful. So let's talk about it. Because I think the next leaders, CEOs, business entrepreneurs, teachers, educators, difference makers, influencers are in this room right now. You will go on one day and you will make a difference. You will be a leader. You will have influence. You'll be a CEO. You may be a dad, a mom. You will have significance in your life, in this room, in this generation. And Gen Z is the most stressed, most anxious, and most depressed generation ever to be recorded. The American Psychology Association has tons of data and tons of research, and let me just share some of those with you. Gen Z faces a chronic stress, and that includes the fear of mass shootings, student debt, joblessness, or, for me, not using my degree. That's a real fear, right? I invest all this time and money into a degree, a piece of paper, credentials. It may not even land me a job, and I might not be satisfied with that. I might have studied the wrong thing. Political division, and that circumstance in the United States, racial division, and everything that's transpired for the last couple of years with the race stuff, and also with the political division, and then we got the pandemic on top of that. Can you just say layer after layer after layer after layer of what you guys have been going through? Then the news and the media, can we trust it? What's real? We don't know. Our social media feeds. Do you know that Instagram, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 3 girls in this generation have body issue insecurities because of Instagram and the comparison game? I think guys struggle with it too. We struggle with money. Look at that truck, man. Look at that truck. Lifted up, big 33s on it, brand new. Look at that thing. And we're jealous, the comparison. And we have this fear of like, am I good enough? Is what I have enough? We have a fear of the future. What does it hold? What am I supposed to do with my life? I ask so many of y'all in this generation, what do you want to do with your life? I don't know. You guys don't know. Some of you might be sold out. Yes, I'm a veterinarian, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be a newscaster, I'm going to be a professional athlete. You're sold out for that. Most of us go, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with my life. Mass shootings, racial division, pandemic, the change in the education format you guys had to navigate to going remote and then coming back and going remote and all that. Should I get the vaccine? Should I not wear a mask? All of this craziness has put stress and anxiety on us. So we have to talk about it. You know that there was a TikTok trend a while back? That it became normalized and kind of cool to check yourself into a mental health institution? Did you guys see that happen? Like it was hashtag cool, hashtag trending when you said, yeah, I got a mental illness and I'm checking myself into a mental health clinic. Became popularized, it became normalized, it became the expectation. We kind of like idolize it, like you're kind of cool if you have one, like because everyone's got one, I just need one too. And so we gravitate, we latch onto that, and we let that become our identity that I'm just gonna struggle with anxiety. It's part of my neurology, it's part of my chemistry, it's part of the imbalance in my brain, and I wanna try to dive in tonight and say that's not true. Fully. That does exist, science proves that does exist. But I think there's another avenue and a conversation we have to engage in to talk about this. And I don't have any professional training. I have real life experience walking 6 years with young people. And I want to share with what I've learned. And I want to introduce you to someone that I've studied. Her name is Carolyn Leaf, Dr. Carolyn Leaf. World-renowned cognitive, let me read this. It's crazy, big words, I might struggle. Dr. Carolyn Leaf is a world-renowned cognitive neuroscience communication pathologist, best-selling New York Times author. She has a master's in communication pathology, a PhD in logopedics. From the University of Cape Town, she went to South Africa. She studied and specializes in cognitive and metacognitive neuropsychology. Whew, she's decorated, okay? 1980, she started doing research, and she started to study the mind-brain connection. That there's a physical matter in your skull of a brain, but there's also this abstract, we can't really see or define tangible mind that controls our thoughts, and our decisions and our reactions, and it's yours to control. And there's a connection. Yeah, they're like inseparable, but they are separate at the same time. It's this fascinating. And she has studied, and science is now proving based on her research, that you can rewire your neuroplasticity, which is the gray matter in your brain. Because you know what your brain wants to do? Your brain is like 200 million iPads. I read that somewhere. Like the computational power that your brain has is the best supercomputer. No one can ever recreate that. And so what our brain likes to do, because it's so efficient, is that it wants to create shortcuts. It wants to the synaptics, the synaptic firing of the cells wants to be as quick and as efficient as possible. So it'll cut corners and it'll create habits instantly to do things subconsciously so you don't have to think about it in your mind. The brain just takes over and does it subconsciously for you. And so there's this connection about your mind can actually wire your neuroplasticity. It can wire your neural pathways and create habits that will then happen subconsciously that you don't even realize that are happening. And I think anxiety, depression, chronic fear, and worry can sometimes be the result of trauma and experiences and overwhelming stress, anxiety, the world, and everything we've experienced without us being intentional. Our gray matter wires in an unhealthy way, a toxic way, to live in anxiety, depression, worry, and fear, and it plagues us. And we wonder why when we get hurt or we get stressed, we just want to numb ourselves on social media or TikTok. We just want to pull away from the world and not deal with the problems and just try to forget them because it's just happening in a deep level that we're not even aware of. Then there's this mind-brain connection that she has studied and saying we got to take hold of our mind. We are in control of our thoughts. We are in control of our emotions, and we get to decide how our brain gets wired. And you might think I'm crazy and I'm wrong, and here's the reality. If you don't do nothing about it, your brain will wire one way. Don't you want to be in charge of that? Don't you want to be the one at the reins deciding what happens and how your supercomputer gets naturally wired? And so what we've done, and it's like this reductionistic approach to where we've just boiled down every mental illness to a chemical imbalance, and we try to supplement with medicine. And that's a very narrow-minded thinking, according to Carolyn Leaf. She's saying, no, we have to expand the conversation, expand the thought, and see the mind-brain connection. You see, you can go 3 minutes, or you can go 3 weeks without food and still survive. You can go 3 days without water and still survive. You can hold your breath for 3 minutes if you're really talented and can do it. But you know what you can't do? You can't go 3 seconds without thinking. You can't go 3 seconds without your mind having an emotion or a response or a thought or some type of feeling in your mind. And here's the thing about emotions, right? Your emotions are real, but they're not always reliable. Why am I afraid? Why am I stressed? Why am I overwhelmed? Why am I depressed? Why? Ask those questions. Why? Your feelings are real. I'm not trying to discredit them. I'm just saying they're not always a true tale of what's happening in your life, in your brain. Your mind has to take over, and you have to be in charge. So this mind-brain connection, here's what's powerful. The question we have to answer is, can we change our gray matter neuroplasticity? And Carolyn would say, yes, you can with your mind. And she's got a 5-step process. She calls it the neuro cycle. And so I think we got to, prescribing drugs and dealing with the chemical imbalance is good. Science is proving that, but that's not the be-all, end-all. Let's talk about our mind. So the first step, she says, is gather awareness. She says that we spend about 1/2 to 3/4 of our day traveling in our mind space. Like over half of your day is in your mind. It's all in your head. You ever heard something that's just all in your head? Literally, it's all in your head. Every decision, every thought, every emotion is happening in your brain 3/4 to 1/2 of your day. And we need to think right now in the now moment, she says. Not the past, not the future of what's coming, in the now moment. Take control of your mind, control of your thoughts, control of your emotions, and be in the now moment and be aware of when you have these feelings or these reactions. And here's some feelings and some reactions, right? When you have worry, like that's an emotional signal that something's going on in your body. Get aware and say, okay, something's happening. You ever been able not to sleep at night and your mind's just racing? That's a sign that there's something that you need to take hold of with your mind and deal with, and not numb and try to push aside and push through and get rid of. That's a behavioral warning when you can't sleep. An emotional warning is worry or stress. And you ever get like that fluttering heart, like pit in your stomach nervousness when you're overwhelmed and stressed or anxious? Right? That's a physical. Your body physically has this manifestation of a reaction to stress. Be aware of those. Know when they're happening, and it leads us to point 2, be aware. Step 2 is reflect on them. And reflecting is like a deep thought. Like you got to get deep and you got to try to understand, why is this thought happening? Why is this feeling happening? Why can I not sleep? And here's what you got to do, she says. Put these thoughts and these emotions on trial like you're a lawyer and you're trying to prosecute the heck out of them. And you're asking them questions. You're playing devil's advocate and you go, okay, all right, man, why can I sleep right now? Okay, I got a test tomorrow that I forgot to study for. Okay, well, why didn't I study for my test? Okay, probably because I didn't discipline myself. I procrastinated too long, and I went out with friends and partied and drank and all that. Okay, why'd you do that? Well, because I have issues of feeling like I fit in and feeling accepted, so I got to go out and I delay my schoolwork to go be social. Well, why do you feel like you got to be social? Well, my dad was never around, and I didn't have any connection. Now I'm trying to find it with guys, and you just keep asking and lawyering the crap out of that thought, and you trace it back to its origin and its root. You know what this is called? It's called therapy. Like I just gave you a course in therapy right there. That's what a therapist is going to do. They're going to trace the root of why you feel, why the anxiety exists, why the stress, why you're overwhelmed, why you're depressed, and they're just going to lawyer the heck out of you until you get to the root with a complete answer, and you go, yeah, that's the root. And then you deal with the root, and you overcome the root. You're intentional with the root. You let your mind overcome the root, and you rewire your neuroplasticity to then take control of the manifestation that happens even subconsciously. Keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. And then she says, you need to write it down. I'm not a writer, I'm not a journaler, but she says you should journal. Here's what I do. I talk to somebody. Here's the truth I know you need to do. When you reflect and you lawyer and you get to that root, get it out of your head. Get it out of your head. Get it onto paper, that's fine. Or get it out in front of somebody else, someone that you love, someone that you trust, someone that you value their input and their wisdom. Get it out of yourself with somebody else. Or get it on paper, organize your thoughts, trace it all back, circle the root, and understand, write it down. Why am I angry? Why am I sad? Why am I overwhelmed? Why am I freaking out? And get to the root. And you know what is crazy? Jenny Allen, another incredible mind on this, she says the root comes back to 3 things typically. Number 1, I'm helpless. You feel helpless. Like there's no option for you. There's no hope for you. There's no future for you. You feel worthless. That's point number 2. The second root is typically you feel worthless. Like your value, your identity. I'm just not good enough and I'll never be good enough like them. Instagram, comparison. I'll never measure up. The expectations my parents have placed on me for perfection in my grades, I can't do it. And we try to live up and we feel like we're worthless and we're unlovable, which is the third one. I'm unlovable. No one's ever going to love me for the real me, and I'm not okay in my own skin. And you feel like you got to try to adapt and be a chameleon and be somebody that you're not to try to impress and be accepted and feel valued and feel like you have value and you have worth and you want to be loved. And these are the three things that the root typically comes back to. Write it down, reflect, trace it, get it out of your head with someone else that you trust and process this. The fourth one, she says, is to recheck it. Go through it, analyze it. Recheck it, have another follow-up conversation, really try to process, get to the root. And she cautions not to live here too long, because if you live in that toxic pattern of like just reflecting and woe is me, I'm terrible, I'm worthless, like, okay, recognize it, organize it, realize it, don't live there too long, and then you make a plan of action. Step 5, it says activate accountability. Have a goal. I'm going to take control of this now. I know I'm loved. I know I have value. I know I have worth. I know I'm not hopeless. I know I am significant. I know I have people. I know this, I know this, I know this, but the lies of society and comparison want to rob you and kill you mentally. And the trauma and the craziness and the political division, the racial tension, the pandemic, all of it wants to kill your mind. I believe that. And we have to take hold of it and say, no, you're not. This is who I am, this is who I'm going to be, and you have a plan of action with steps to then take control of your mind, and you invite accountability into that. If you ever make a New Year's resolution, never go by yourself to the gym. It won't last, will it? 98% or 99%, somebody back there, he knows. You failed on your resolution, that's right. Honesty, love it. Take somebody with you. Accountability. So you can actually accomplish your goals. Invite them in. And you got to do this consistent over time. Do you know that it takes 21 days to even start to break an old neural pathway? That's what her research is saying. 21 days. Do this process for 21 days around that one thing. And then step 5, the accountability and the goal setting, do that step from day 22 to day 63, because it takes 63 days to actually fully rewire your gray matter in your brain so that it happens subconsciously without you even having to think about it. You got to commit consistency over time. You can't do a full neurocycle. You can't change your brain in a day. 63 days. You do this. Her studies and research has shown since the 90s, 81% effectiveness rate. And people being set free from anxiety, depression, chronic fear, and worry. And I want to share with my story as I close. Okay? I did these steps without even knowing these steps existed, because I just read her book, which you should read her book. It's Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by Carolyn Leaf. It's incredible. And here's my story. I was exposed to pornography when I was about 10 years old, and I got addicted. Now, when I was in my addiction, I would have denied and said, it's not an addiction, no way. At least I'm not doing it with other real people. I'm just watching this and doing this and satisfying myself this way. And I became addicted. I would plan my day around it. It was what drove me. It was a strong desire that I had to consume that content. And it's subconsciously in my brain. I didn't even think about it. It was just what I did. It's part of who I was. Until finally I said no more. I realized this is not healthy for me. I was objectifying women. I viewed them for what they could provide sexually, and I didn't value them for who they were and who God made them. And I blew it, and I said, no more. So I got awareness about my issue. I got awareness. And then I reflected on it and said, why? Oh yeah, I was exposed at 10, and it's really powerful. Sex is powerful. Pornography is designed to keep you addicted so they can make more money. And sex is so powerful, there's an incredible chemical reaction in your brain I can't even go into that bonds you to that in a way in which nothing else can. And I was stuck. Oh, okay, that's why. Reflect. What are my triggers? Why do I want to go there? And you know what my number one trigger was? Alone. And I was by myself, alone. I reflected. I created awareness around my issue. And then I didn't write it down. I didn't journal it, but I confessed it to somebody. I got it outside of myself and to my buddy Ben, we were in Hughes Hall. I remember the day. Hughes Hall, 4th floor. I walked down the wing. He was across the hall from me. I knocked on his door. I go and cry and saying, Ben, I'm tired of looking at porn, man. I got to change. I'm over this. And he said, okay, let's fight it. Let's do it. And so then I created accountability, step 5. I would confess it and I would say it to him. Every time I messed up, every time I had a thought, every time I had a desire, I would confess it. And it was longer than 63 days for me because I wasn't perfect and I wasn't disciplined enough. But guess what? Over time, the desire I had for pouring it now is a disgust to me. It gives me a pit in my stomach and it makes me want to throw up just thinking about me consuming that material. It was now a desire that my brain had subconsciously. Now it's a disgust I want nothing to do with. And I thank God that he saved me from that and he set me free from that and he provided a friend like Ben to be able to help me rewire my neuroplasticity so my subconscious was no longer addicted to that. I think the same thing is true with anxiety and depression and any mental struggle that we have. Will you commit to being set free if that's you? I don't know what your trauma is. I don't know what your life looks like. I don't know how severe it is. I don't know where you are clinically with medicine and a psychologist or a therapist. And I'm not saying you need to neglect that and try this. I'm saying add this to your life. Give it a try, 63 days, commit to it. Invite somebody in. And here's what I believe. There's not a better group of people in this room. This is what the Way movement's all about. Inviting you in to be everything you were created to be by God who made you. We believe that God made you and loves you and doesn't want you to be plagued by any of these mental illnesses. And this is a group of people who will love you and accept you and counsel you and be there for accountability, encourage you and inspire you to be everything God made you to be. And so the conversation doesn't stop here tonight. We meet every Wednesday night, not tomorrow because we did tonight, so not tomorrow, but next week, finals week, we will meet 7:30 at the Vineyard Church building. That's where we meet. And then we'll be back beginning of the year, every Wednesday night, 7:30. We'll be meeting, we're having these kind of conversations, and you need to be a part of it. And come join us and discover the life that you were made to live. Band is going to come back out. We're going to sing 3 more songs. And I want to encourage you to just sit, reflect. If you want to stand, you can. And just reflect on the words and know that there's a God out there who made you and who loves you and wants you to be free from any mental illness or impairment that you may have. He's crazy about you. And these songs will reflect his heart about you. And no matter what you're going through, he's there. You can ask him and he'll support you. So, is it cool if I pray? Let's do that. Let me pray and then we're going to sing. Jesus, I thank you for tonight. Thank you for all the people that were here. I thank you for this band and the talent they have. I thank you for Gage and his contribution to it. And God, I thank you that we're able to have this conversation openly and we're able to be vulnerable and we're able to be real with each other and we're able to deal with the issues that we're dealing with. And I pray that we would leave here different. We leave here ready to go, to fight, to stand up for what is right and be free from anything that plagues us. And you would inspire us and you would just be with us and help us know that you love us and you want us to have the best life possible. And we can find that in you. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.